Pop Evil dropped their new album, What Remains. Man, I've really been digging the singles off of this album.
Yeah, you know.
Which I'm just gonna get it out of the way. Not a fan of the fact that it is front loaded with the singles, and it kicks off with. I mean, the Bullet That Missed, it was not a single. That's an opening track, but then 2, 3, 4, and I believe Side Effects was the focus track. So then 5 are all of the singles off of the album. With Death Walk, What Remains, and Wishful Thinking all being out ahead of time and getting plenty of spins for me across streaming and Octane. That was kind of like, I wish there were more familiar points for me throughout the album that I could kind of, grab onto metaphorically as going through the album. But I've checked out this record a couple of times. The first time I was kind of like, okay, mainly because like it's so front loaded, and then there was nothing familiar on the tail end, and I was just kind of like, I'm not entirely sure if I came away with anything other than I enjoyed the singles, the songs I've heard. But I gave it a few more listens, and I'm happy to say I came away with enjoying the album a lot more than that initial listen. Still a huge fan of the singles. I think that those songs were singles for a reason. They're all very strong and still, my favorites off of the album. But I also think that Criminal, Enough Is Enough, and Knife for the Butcher are incredibly solid tracks. Across the board, just very strong songwriting. And they know how to write choruses. That's why I initially got hooked on the band with the singles off this album, was the choruses, and they know how to write them. It's across the album. It's strewn throughout the entire record. Very solid.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great record. I'm not mad at it. I completely agree with the front loaded and how it's just, it kind of leaves you hanging on the second half, because that's a thing that we've both agreed on, where it's like records should have, if you drop a lot of singles, make sure they're throughout the entire record, so someone has a metaphorical floaty to latch onto in a sea of songs that you don't know. That's something that I think bands should genuinely, you guys got to pay attention to that, because then it gives listeners who are already well versed in your discography something to look forward to, while also being greeted with a song that they already know and hopefully love. Unlike LeBron from A Day to Remember, I was dreading that in the sea of floaties, that I was like, fuck, I gotta latch onto you in a second. Anyways, so I think this record's fucking awesome. I think the sound overall is great. I think they have that kind of like dark metal pop fusion going on, and it's fucking dope. I think I have genuinely nothing to complain about. When you mentioned Knife for the Butcher, that song had me fucking immediately, because it's fucking explosive, it's big, it's angry, it's everything that I want in this type of song, and I think it's just such a fucking good track. Obviously all the singles in the front half, front half excluding the opener, I think are great. I have no quarrels or issues with them. I'm pretty sure did we cover all of them, or did we cover
just one, I think.
Yeah, I think because I'm looking at them, I'm like, I don't really remember covering them, but I do remember like you talking about them.
We jumped in towards the middle because it was just like I started hearing the songs on Octane, the singles that had already been out, and then Wishful Thinking came out, and I was like,
might as well.
We do whatever we want around here.
Yeah, we're kind of spontaneous around here. So I think I just remember you talking about them and being like, this band, I'm so excited about this band. And just, I get it. I get the hype. I get your excitement. I understand why they're getting so much play, so much airspace. It's fucking awesome to see. And I think all the congratulations and hype and everything is well deserved, because the album holds its own for me. Singles aside, I think it's fucking awesome. Even with the singles being on the front half, which again is it's more of just a pet peeve rather than an actual like, this ruins a fucking record for me. It's just kind of like, guys, we couldn't have taken like 2 more seconds.
Yeah.
We couldn't have 5
Sequence.
seconds. Right? It's not that hard, I don't think. But granted, I've never done it, but I don't think it's that hard.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's definitely front loaded, but it's not, it doesn't discredit the back half of the album in any stretch. It's an incredibly solid record through and through. It's just a personal pet peeve of Gloria and I. That's that.
It's just how it is, man.
Yeah.
It's the way the cookie crumbles. Dog.
They're headlining this April. Peep the dates, check it out. I know it's not coming near me, but I do know that they're bringing Return to Dust out with them. So amongst other bands, but that's the one that I remember. So peep the dates. If it's coming near you, you should go. Return to Dust, great band.
Shout out Return to Dust.